Episode 62, Season 2, the Daily Intermission Podcast. My name is Greg. I'm joined by Nate. My mic sounds a little off.
Does it?
Yeah, it does.
Really? Sounds good on mine.
Okay. It's been pushed way down. There we go.
There we have it.
How you doing, Nate? I'm joined in studio.
Yeah, I'm good. Now that the mic difficulties are over.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's been a busy week in sports. Obviously, with this time of year, it's normally not presenting the most content for sportscasters, but we found a way to get an episode, and we're excited to announce that we've got Sam Alvey coming on this episode. So,
That's right.
Former UFC fighter. Not currently under contract, so we'll get into it with Sam Alvey. But I did want to mention this pregame show of episode 62 is brought to you by Manscaped, the best tools for your family jewels worldwide. Millions of people use these Manscaped tools to keep up their grooming, and you can use the code TDI at manscaped.com for 20% off free shipping. Go check it out.
Yep, it is fantastic stuff, as I say every time.
Yeah, no, it's quite the deal. So make sure you go check out manscaped.com and use the code. But Nate, moving to the pregame show, Serena Williams has announced retirement. She put it actually in a unique way. She said she's going to be evolving outside of the tennis world. So an interesting way to say that she's going to be moving on. But you'd have to say probably the greatest woman athlete of all time, female athlete of all time. Certainly a top five, just even in both male and female tennis. I mean, the run that we witnessed her go on was substantial. And, the women's game is definitely going to miss Serena.
Oh, for sure. I mean, she's been around since... it's been ever since you can remember tennis.
Yep.
It's Serena Williams.
Yep.
So it's going to be weird without her playing, that's for sure now.
No doubt. 23 Grand Slam wins, 14 double slams with her sister Venus. I mean, the Williams sisters, what an incredible story. I know there's a new documentary coming out, Nate. Will Smith's the father, I do believe. So I'll have to check out that movie. But
Is that a Netflix special?
I think it might be. I'm not sure. No, what a career from Serena Williams. And right now we've got the National Bank Open going on in Toronto. Leylah Fernandez is out. Serena's out. So Bianca still in. So we'll see if Bianca can kind of get things back on track. But the promising thing I think that Serena showed the women's world and just the tennis world is she won 10 slams after the age of 30. So, we see the tennis world can take a toll on the body early on, but... I mean, the longevity of the Williams sisters is certainly something to behold.
It's been very impressive for sure. And you say the wear on the body, man. It's probably underrated how easy it would be to just like snap an ankle, pull a knee out, blow your hip.
Yep.
Anything.
Yeah, absolutely. The cardiovascular demand in the tennis world,
man.
Just it's unbelievable. And yeah, those surfaces aren't the most forgiving on the body for sure. But it is World Juniors in Edmonton right now. Obviously, the postponement of those World Juniors in December due to COVID-19, but now they're up and running, and a lot of the faces that we were going to see in December not returning. But it's been pretty good. I've watched a couple games, and that Connor Bedard kid's fun to watch.
Yes.
He uses a 70 flex stick. I watched Jeff O'Neill during the intermission kind of break it down. Man, he can rip the puck. He's looking to shoot every time he gets the puck, and it's going to be exciting to watch. I mean, USA's got some great players as well. So, first few games were exciting. I mean, fans in Edmonton are still looking to fill up that building.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. It's dead in there. I guess, though, it's like summer. There's probably not a whole lot of people dying to get in there in the middle of the summer. There's so much going on. It's more of it's just more of a winter Christmas thing. That's when the spirit is up for World Juniors. But yeah, I mean, that guy should be shooting all the time though, Bedard.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it right before the tournament ended at Christmas? He had like a 4-goal game, didn't he?
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah, 5 goals in 2 games.
That's ridiculous.
So he's
like
going to be
16 years old, man.
Yeah. He's going to be a great player. There's no doubt about it, and we're excited for him to come to Halifax. But we'll continue to monitor the World Juniors and bring you guys all the updates there. But and I know Nate was on the
Finland Czech Republic over today.
The Finland and Czech Republic over, and I am on the Americans over the Swiss by 4 goals, over 3.5.
I think that would be a lock.
I hope so.
I would think. Oh, we got 3-3 Finland Czech Republic, ladies and gentlemen.
And that's going to hit, folks.
That's a dub for the kid.
That's going to hit.
How we doing?
That's big. That's big.
2 for 2 early. I just need Jordan Alvarez.
Yep.
Absolutely pound one out of the park.
And Nate, just kind of finishing off the pregame show here, we got the PGA Tour, first round of the playoffs, 125 player event. There's a cut, and it's the FedEx St. Jude. So it used to be a World Golf Championship event, but now it's the playoffs, and we're looking. I forget who was leading. I think Siwoo Kim right now is currently leading at -8, but I know some of our best bets. I was on Scotty Scheffler, Tony Finau, and Justin Thomas.
Yes. I had Zalatoris.
Yep.
Cameron James Smith.
Yep. And John Rahm.
John Rahm, that's correct, yes.
So
now, did I see something the other day that Cameron Young is also going to the LIV Tour?
Yeah,
is that what I'm hearing?
I saw some rumors about that as well. But let's get into it here a little bit because Cameron Percy, who came eighth last week, fellow Australian with Mark Leishman and Cam Smith at the Wyndham Championship, he came out after that event and said that it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that Cam Smith and Mark Leishman would be heading to the LIV Tour, which kind of rocked the golf world. I mean, until now, they've only got Dustin Johnson kind of being their biggest playing name. He's 16th ranked in the world golf rankings. Now they would be poaching the second-ranked player in the world, and obviously Cam Smith, who's had such a tremendous season, winning the Open, winning the Players' Championship. I mean, turning into a household name this season.
Big time.
But yeah, that's going to be tough to see those guys leave.
It is for sure. It's kind of crazy because I feel like if you would have asked me like a few weeks ago, I wouldn't have thought there was a chance Cam Smith was actually going to go. But now it just seems like, obviously, it seemed like pretty much that he's going, which is, I don't know, it's crazy, man. They're just getting a lot of guys.
Yeah,
guys.
$100 million, it sounds like. So, well, I mean, until they change the format into a tournament where, historically it's been a 72-hole event with a cut, I just don't really know if it's going to captivate me, but yeah, it's still ongoing. Obviously, the LIV Tour update, the 11 LIV Tour players that sued the PGA Tour lost that suit and will not be playing in the FedEx Cup, which would have been pretty greasy, I think, if you would have decided to leave to the LIV Tour and then tried to come back and play for the $18 million, would have been pretty tough.
Yeah, no doubt. But, man, it's just, I'm surprised this is still going on. Like, I thought this was, like, when the whole LIV Tour thing started, I was like, okay, like, how serious is this going to be? And it's just not going away. So, well, it's wild.
We'll see what happens for sure. We'll continue to monitor that situation, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon, that's for sure. But Nate, we're going to move into quarter one, and it's going to be a little bit of MLB talk. And Rodolfo Castro gets called up by the Pittsburgh Pirates. He's rounding second, slides into third, and his cell phone flies out of his pocket. I mean, I've played in some, some competitive atmospheres in sports, and cell phones are kind of a big no-no in the dressing room, and let alone like in the dugout and on the playing field, having your cell phone. What an obnoxious look that is for Rodolfo.
If you're in the batting lineup, I mean, if you're a guy that's kind of like, you're just chilling in the dugout and you're not playing that day, it's like, all right, whatever. But man, I think of beer league softball, I wouldn't even have my phone in my pocket.
Yeah,
like it's just, if anything's slowing you down.
Oh my goodness.
That thing lugging around, man. Sometimes I'm walking down the road and the thing's just flapping against my leg and I'm like, Jesus, dude.
It looked like an iPhone 12 Plus too. The thing was massive.
Yes. It's the size of the base.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what the heck's going on there. I don't know I think the MLB is investigating into that because that's something that could be a danger. So we'll see what happens there. Nate, minor league player for the St. Louis Cardinals, has hit the home run cycle for the second time in the history of baseball. A solo dinger, 2-run shot, 3-run shot, and grand slam for the second time recorded in the history of baseball. I mean, if I'm the St. Louis Cardinals, I'm calling this guy up tomorrow.
You'd be crazy not to, wouldn't you?
What a feat.
That is, I mean, we talk every so often about how hard just the cycle is.
Yeah.
Let alone the home run cycle.
Yeah.
Good Lord, man. Oh my God. That's one of the craziest things ever. Do you know when the first time was?
No, I don't, and I don't know.
It's probably like 1912.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it had to be.
I mean, this is just something that you just don't see every day, and this guy was going nuts, obviously.
This is backyard Mario Super Slugger shit.
Yes, exactly.
That's ridiculous.
The home run cycle has been hit for the second time, so congrats to that individual in the minor leagues in St. Louis. I wish I had his name jotted down.
Imagine the guys.
Because he's going to be my fire wagon. But
imagine the guys that are listening.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus.
Yes.
Does I do that? I can't even get a name?
Yeah. The Orioles in the AL East have been they've been heating up, man. They've won 7 of 8 games. I mean, they've been the hottest team in the AL East since July 1st. And now they're ahead of the Blue Jays, Rays, and Red Sox, I do believe. And they're not going anywhere, man. They're a young, gritty team. This Cedric Mullins guy who got a mouthful from us in Toronto has been playing really well. And,
we lit him up.
And they're just not going anywhere. And I mean, I'm excited to watch what these guys can do because there's nothing I like more than an underdog come October in baseball.
Oh man, you imagine if they could get in?
Oh, I would be on the Orioles wagon.
When is the last time the Orioles made the playoffs?
That's gonna be something we're gonna look up.
I'll be looking it up.
Yeah,
it has. If I was gonna take a guess, I would say probably like
2000.
Man, I don't even know. Like, I don't recall them. Like, man, think of how wagons the Yankees and Red Sox were. And like,
and there might be a year though, like that we're like forgetting, you know, like just like a random like 2007 or something like.
Yeah. No, you're probably right. But let's pull it up here. We got seasons here. Okay, so I don't know. Okay, this might not work. Okay, so we've got Okay, all right. They got into a wild card game, actually, believe it or not, in 2016, which I do not recall at all.
No, neither do I.
They lost in the ALCS in 2014, which, again, I don't recall. And they lost in the ALDS in 2012, and then prior to that, we're going back to 97.
So they had a little nice run there,
they did.
2012 to 2016. So we're not giving them enough love. But no, the Orioles are certainly a Cinderella story this season, and I'm excited to see where they go. Nate, the Blue Jays have signed center fielder Jackie Bradley Jr., who was released by the Red Sox last week. And I think this is this is concerning for a few different. Whit Merrifield, who they signed for, or who they traded for from the Kansas City Royals, he can play a little center field. You got Jackie Bradley Jr. now, who you've signed, who can play center field. I don't know if this looks very good for the guy who's on the IL, George Springer. Their $90-100 million player. So I mean, we'll see what happens there with George Springer. But you know, if they're going to make a serious run at the pennant in the World Series, they're going to need
some depth for sure.
They're going to need George Springer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they are for sure. Now you kind of wonder how bad is the injury.
Yep.
Like, is there, so I don't know, man. Jackie Bradley, though, what a beauty.
He's such a beauty. Guy, man. I know.
Beauty.
He is such a beauty, man.
Let's not forget about him.
No, exactly. Actually, kind of sort of disappointed the Red Sox snapped him. I mean, you got Jared Duran, who gave up that inside the park.
Stands still, man, like he's a dog.
Yeah, so.
Oh, man. Jackie Bradley.
JBJ to Toronto. Nate, a funny story to Tampa Bay. Yandy Diaz, he was concerned when they made a road trip to Milwaukee about ghosts in the hotel room.
Okay.
So do you think he was listening to the Aaron Rodgers interviews? And
he's either that or he just did a few psychedelics of his own and actually tweaked himself to death.
he was tweaking, dude.
Although I've heard some stories about some hotel rooms in the recent past.
Have you?
Yeah.
What's that one?
Friend of the show did the kid. When he was telling the story about when he was in like Thunder Bay or something.
Yeah.
And he set the chair up in front of the door and he was like, if this chair has moved, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I'd probably just be out of there. But
yeah.
I mean, I know Tampa Bay has a smaller budget than
Have you ever had any ghost situations?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, neither have I.
Think back to it, but I've heard some crazy stuff.
Have you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I was just going to mention there though. I know Tampa Bay doesn't pay. They don't have the biggest budget in the league, but what hotels are these guys staying at?
That's what I'm questioning as well.
Fellas.
No, but apparently the hotel is haunted. It's a nice 5-star.
Where was it in
Milwaukee?
I wouldn't put it by Milwaukee.
Yeah.
That's a spot where you could see a ghost hunters.
Definitely, yeah.
I've heard stories though of like ghosts and stuff where it's like I can't remember who it was, but they said they were staying at like one of their grandparents' cottages.
Okay.
And anyway, they were the only ones there, and they were down in the basement. They were sleeping there, which is that's the spot.
Yes.
It's either that or the attic.
Yes.
They don't chill on the main floor very much. It doesn't seem like. But I guess there was this like ground entryway into the basement.
Yep.
And it was dead bolted, like locked up. And so anyway, they heard they thought what it was shaking, and then they could feel this like breeze coming in. And anyway, the door had opened up, and so they shut it again. They relocked it. And when they came, they were the only ones there. And when it came back, it was just popped back open. The door was wide open again. And it continued on like a few times. And they were like, we're leaving.
That's pretty sketchy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like that type of stuff.
Have you heard about that weird mountain too? I can't remember what it is, but apparently it's impossible to stay there for like a night. It's not like a mountain, but it's this one little spot in the woods, like up top. I don't know where this is, but apparently
see that stuff. I'm not a big horror guy, and I'm not a big see that stuff doesn't appeal to me. I'd be like, I'm out of here.
Apparently, there's some money you can win if you're able to stay 24 hours.
Well, we might be looking into that.
I don't know if we will be, though, because I'd read a couple stories and I'd be like, I don't think that's going to be worth it.
That could be how much would it take coming in the near future, but we're moving on. That's going to conclude the MLB Talk. The marathon continues. We'll continue to monitor everything in the baseball world for Friday, but for Monday, I should say, but NFL preseason continues this week. We've got a full slate of games. Yep. Patriots are on last night, so tonight Excited to watch them versus the Giants. We'll get to see some starter action. It looks like Patrick Mahomes is going to play. It looks like Trevor Lawrence is going to play for the Jaguars.
Get the boys a few snaps.
Yep, absolutely. But there's a few QB battles that we should be eyeing in on in Pittsburgh. They're going to start off Mitch Trubisky. I know that Two Gloves Kenny Pickett's going to be in the mix as well, and Mason Rudolph. So they got a 3-man race there in Pittsburgh. I mean, we'll look at Carolina. We got the Sam Darnold versus Baker Mayfield race. It looks like Baker Mayfield's won the job.
You'd have to think, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's the better
Sam Darnold, player. And he's a pussy.
Whoa.
Well,
no.
I mean, kinda.
Whoa.
Well, he is.
Okay.
He's a wiener, man. I just remember him throwing the ball at the ground every time anyone comes near him.
Yeah.
Hilarious, man.
Yeah, so, and we'll see what happens in Cleveland because Deshaun Watson, he'll be playing in the preseason, but he will not be playing. Well, I guess if they don't get it solved and the appeal is still going, he'll be playing, but we'll see what happens there in Cleveland and Seattle. We've got... we've got, oh my gosh, why can't I? Geno Smith has won the preseason job over Drew Lock to start off the season. So we'll see what happens in Seattle. I don't think they're going to have a great year. But Nate Brady announced that he'll be stepping away from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers until after August 20th with some personal matters. Okay. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe parents' health came to mind.
Right. Yeah, that could be it. I'd bet that's probably it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, for sure.
Either that or he's just like, listen, guys, I'm just going to take it easy.
Yeah.
Just gotta relax till trust me, I'm gonna be all right without preseason.
Do you think he might be pulling the Rodman, and they'll see him in the clubs in Vegas?
Doesn't strike me as much of a club guy as Rodman. No, to be completely honest, but crazier things have happened.
Yes.
It's like next thing you know, you just go on Instagram. He's like, "Let's go."
Yeah, let's absolutely go. Yeah. Him, Phil Mickelson, Calvin Ridley are at the tables.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh man.
We'll see what happens here.
Yes, we will.
James White has retired, Nate. Only running back ever to score a walk-off touchdown in the Super Bowl history. Obviously, the 28-3 comeback. I mean, James White, he played 9 years in the NFL, never lost a fumble. I mean, this guy was such a tremendous back for the Patriots. So we're going to farewell, and what a great career from James White.
Yeah, that's awesome, too. The only guy to have a walk-off Super Bowl win.
Yeah, that is insane.
Just lace him up.
Every time I watch that play, it doesn't look like he's in. But... they just start celebrating.
Well, they ain't going back now.
No, there's no way. And it's not really talked about that much. But
I kind of want to look at it again now.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's in.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's got to be some Falcons fans that would agree.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
there's always conspiracy theories in the NBA or in the NFL, especially
when it comes to the Patriots.
Yes.
Yeah. And
it's just everything. It's like the balls were deflated. Yeah. This happened.
They were spying on our practice.
Yeah, exactly. Belichick was in a blimp.
Anyway.
Tom Brady was under the bleachers that night.
That's right.
It's just classic, man. It's every year. One call goes the Patriots' way.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they maybe get a few more generous ones, perhaps, you could say. Who knows? I'd have to run the numbers.
Yeah.
But as soon as one happens, everybody's up in arms. It's like, Belichick. And it's like, just chill, guys. The league's not rigged.
Oh, it's sport.
There's 100 guys on the team. You think they're all buying in to rig it?
Oh, it's crazy. Nate, just finally, Marshawn Lynch was arrested with a DUI in Las Vegas. So apparently he was drinking Skittles in his vodka and decided to hop behind the wheel.
Yep.
Never a good decision, folks. So if you're going to take anything from this episode, do not drink and drive.
'Tis the NFL offseason.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. All right, folks.
Who's next?
So we're going to start to preview these divisions as we go. Maybe we'll do 2 on Monday. We'll start to look through the divisions, give our winners, and we'll start to look at fantasy leagues because that's going to start to heat up before we know it. And I guess without further ado, Nate, here's Samuel
Alvey.
Our second recurring guest in the history of the podcast, potentially joining the Daily Intermission now, Sam Alvey, fresh off his UFC fight last weekend. My man, how you holding up?
I'm doing all right. I found out I don't need to have my mouth wired shut, so everything's going well.
That's big. Good. Yeah. So, is it Alexiak?
What's that?
Is it? I'm just trying to figure out
how to pronounce
the individual that you fought last weekend. Alexiak. Oh,
I have no idea. I've been saying it for the last 8 weeks, and every time I say it, it's different. Olin Jenjezuk. I think there's a Z in there. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So listen, how do you think the fight went? Looking back on the fight, I mean, just kind of break down how things went and where the was it an elbow?
No, this was a punch that finished me off. So the fight was, I've got over 80 fights, like in my career. I've got 80 fights. And this is the first time I've ever had my ass whooped. I mean, it was start of the bell to when the ref pulled him off me. It was not a good night for me. I felt so good walking to that octagon. I felt this is where I'm turning my career around. This is the end. This is going to be great. And I just couldn't. He started just faster than I was expecting. He was across that cage in my face, and his first damn punch broke my jaw. I felt that it doesn't really hurt. I don't know if you guys have ever broken your jaw, but it doesn't really hurt, but it feels wrong. And it was like immediate. I had broken it once before, 5 or 6 years. Sean Strickland broke my jaw 5 or 6 years earlier. And, it was just immediate. I knew what had happened. I was like, oh, son of a gun. And then, he just never let off the brake. He just kept coming, kept putting his hands on me. The jerk.
It sounds like it might have been tough, but would there have been anything you would have done differently, or it was just?
I would have shot immediately. I thought for sure I was going to be able to move around him, stick that jab. I mean, the game plan was I was going to stick the jab because I've got a real good jab. It's worked real well for me. He was just faster. I mean, immediately he was on me, and I should have, hindsight's 2020, shot immediately. I should have went for the takedown, put him on his head, and then ground him. My jiu-jitsu, my wrestling is far better than his. I hate relying on it. I think I'm a better striker than everyone, but I guess not.
So, Seb, speaking of striking, there's been a lot of kind of uproar in the social media scene that, your contract is up right now with the UFC and that you've had a run-in with the Paul brothers in the past. Just talk a little bit about your run-in with Jake and Logan Paul.
Yeah, so years ago, and I usually don't talk about it because it's what happens in the gym stays in the gym. At any day, somebody can beat somebody, and it's not a big deal. But it's been like 5 years. And I figured if somebody were to have beaten me up 5 years ago, I'd be fine if they talked about it now. That, and I don't have a contract, and I would like to fight either of them in boxing. Yeah. It's the one striking sport I've not done. I've done kickboxing, American and Thai style. I've done MMA. I've done pancration. I've done all of it. I've never boxed. So I think that would be a really fun way to do it. And I'm kind of the perfect opponent for him. I haven't won a fight in a while, which he greatly enjoys. The downside is I'm his size. He tends to only like fighting people that are 1 or 2 weight classes smaller than him or on short notice. So I would be on his size. I've never missed weight. I wouldn't miss weight for this fight. I think it'd be a lot of fun to lay him out in front of everyone.
I think we got to get the word out here. We got to start because I would love to see it personally.
We'll get the DI Army behind this.
100%. We should. Yeah, we'll get everybody on it. You obviously mentioned you'd love to fight them. Is there any other celebrities you'd want to scrap or anybody in the boxing realm?
I should probably call it like Bob Sapp or something. So yeah, I'll go up to super heavyweight and we'll see what happens. I don't know. Mike Perry would be fun, but I complain about the Paul's fighting people smaller than Perry's quite a bit smaller than me. And that would be the bare knuckle boxing. I'm really not sure. Every MMA fighter wants to fight, Jake Paul because he runs his mouth real well and he's not good at boxing. And we all want that opportunity to finally shut him up and lay him out. Yeah. So he's kind of head of everyone's list, and I don't want to say I wouldn't be doing it for the money, but you can't ignore that he pays pretty well. So that would be a nice little padding of the wallet as well.
Absolutely. Sure. So you say he's not very good. I mean, is it facts? Like, breaking down the Jake Paul film, like I know nothing about boxing. All I've seen is him, take down his opponents. Like, is he not very good, Sam?
He's really not. If you look at his defense, as to who he's fought, he said, well, I'm building my record, which is why I fought a retired wrestler, a retired basketball player, and then another retired wrestler twice. The guys he's fought weren't strikers to begin with. But if you watch Jake Paul, his footwork isn't good. He has no head movement. He usually gets tired by the end of round 3. And his hands do stay up. They're fairly up. He just doesn't punch with them from here. Like before every combo, boom, he drops to the hip and then launches. He gets some power behind it. And sparring with him and his brother years ago, they're very athletic guys. They throw with some umph. It's just technically he's not a very sound boxer.
So you like your chances?
I would floor him. It wouldn't be. I mean, I've had a string of terrible fights in the UFC. Actually, they've been great fights. I've just lost them. I've had a string of bad luck in the UFC, but he's not UFC level. He doesn't have the striking of a UFC fighter. He's got the striking of a 4-0 amateur boxer. And I train. I mean, I would run laps around him.
I love it. We love hearing it, Sam. We would be full on. Oh. We would find a way to get to that fight and be in your corner. But listen, so your contract is up in the UFC, Sam. Do you have any ambition to get back into the octagon? What does that look like? What does your future in the sport look like?
I'm not done fighting, whether it be boxing or bare knuckle or Bellator or PFL or Eagle FC, or I got more in me. I've made such a good career for myself. I've developed a name, a following in the sport. I'm going to take some time off. I'm going to heal my jaw. I'm going to settle down, and I'm going to look at whatever comes next. I'm really not sure yet. The WWE would be my dream. It has always been my dream. So I might start throwing some feelers out that way. And it's really just, I got to take some time and really be with my family. Since I moved to Tennessee about a year ago, I still do most of my camps out in California. So I really haven't seen my family in 6 weeks. And so I want to settle down, spend some time with them, coach their baseball, do stuff like that. And then really start putting my feelers out to what's coming next.
For sure. Sam, we put up a video the other day on our TikTok. It was about the top 5 dumbest rules in all of sports. And you left a comment that was the no 6 or 12 elbows. And I have no idea what those are.
Neither do I.
So maybe you give us a little explanation what that is and why it's so dumb.
Yeah. So 12 to 6 is like, if you look at a clock, you're not allowed. No MMA fighter is allowed to go from 12 to 6 straight up and down, or ceiling to floor.
Yeah.
If you're lying down on the floor, you can go that way. You can do 12 to 6 that way. It's literally only ceiling to floor you're not allowed to do. And the reason that's a rule is back when MMA first started, I think it was only allowed in Colorado. Some of the judges, some of the sanctioning bodies saw a guy break an ice brick with his elbow. And so they said, if he can break an ice brick with that, we can't let him hit the head. And so that was, from that point on, that is the rule. Now I could go from 11:59 to 6, or 12:01 to 6, completely legal. But 12 to 6 is, you're not allowed to do it in MMA.
Wow, weird. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you think, a Francis Ngannou punch looks like he would break an ice.
Break
some ice too.
Yeah, it's a rule we all know is going to be canceled someday. It just hasn't been yet.
Right? Okay. Yeah. So listen, there's some big fights coming up, Sam, in the UFC. I mean, some belts being distributed. Do you see any? Which champion, I'll say, do you think will get knocked off their reign next in the UFC?
So I think Usman is better than Edwards, and I think 9 out of 10 times Usman wins. But I just got a feeling for this one. I don't know if I have a feeling deep enough to put any money on it. I just got a feeling for Edwards to win this. Usman's got a good jaw, hits real hard, excellent grappling, all that. But he's not as fast as Leon, and I gotta, in my gut, I hope I'm wrong. I want to see Usman defend again. And I'm not a big Leon Edwards fan as far as fighting style goes. But I got a feeling he might get that upset.
I love it. Listen, I was watching the Sean Strickland, because I remember in our first interview you said you said you had some high praise for Sean Strickland, and obviously it was a pretty rowdy pre-fight in his camp, and he ended up getting knocked out. Do you think Sean Strickland will make his way back and be a contender again?
Yeah, Sean's funny. He went out and he fought terribly, and he'll make fun of himself for how he fought. His plan was he was going to stand up for about 2 minutes and 45 seconds, and about 2 minutes and 40 seconds he got knocked out. He said, I was about 5 seconds away from shooting. Oh man, and he's the kind of guy. He goes into gyms and he just beats everyone up, and he beats them up until the gym kicks him out, and then he goes to the next gym. So he'll circle gyms. And there are managers in the sport that won't let the guys they manage spar with Sean, because Sean just kind of comes in and ruins them. So he lost the fight. It happens. He's probably, outside of Dan Henderson, he's probably the best training partner I've ever had.
Cool. Cool. Well, listen, Sam, we're not going to take too much of your time, man. We listened and we were excited to catch up with you. And, we're obviously proud of your career. And we love, hanging out with you on social media and chatting back and forth. And, thank you for taking some time to catch up with us. And we'll be following you closely, whether it's in the UFC and in the Octagon or whether it's boxing, one of the Paul brothers. We're in your corner, my man.
Hey, I appreciate that. And as long as I got you, I got to tell you, you two are so impressive with what you do with sports on your TikTok. That is incredible. I don't know anything as well as you know every sport in the world. It is just something else watching you guys be able to, in 30 seconds, guessing some random athlete or some random combination of athletes.
Listen, we appreciate it, Sam. We take a lot of pride in it.